you were against the state and you were for didn't courts convict persons. So there may be question that your role may be partial.
I was against them that time, I am against them this time. So as a prosecutor, I may not be impartial. I am always against the atrocity committed by AwamiLeague.
If now there is that you are also forcing the ex-police chief to state this way.
She has committed 1400 murders. So it will be just and proper if she is awarded with 1400 times death penalty, but it is not humanly possible. That's why we
The trial of former Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina and some other high-ups of the then AwamiLeague government, including former Home Minister Asaduzzaman Khan Kamal, is under the International Crimes Tribunal (ICT). Ironically, this tribunal was formed by the then AwamiLeague government, and there were so many controversial trials under this court. And ironically, this same court now is conducting the trial of Sheikh Hasina, and the prosecution team argued before the court and demanded capital punishment or death penalty for Sheikh Hasina and some other top officials, including former Home Minister, for killing during the 2024 students lead revolution. There were 1400 killings according to a report of the United Nations. All the countrymen are now looking at this trial, how finally this trial is conducted. We have faced the Chief Prosecutor of International Crimes Tribunal, MD Tajul Islam, and we have asked him about the trial process, about the justice and fairness of the trial. So we have asked so many hard questions before the Chief Prosecutor. Let's see the answer of the Chief Prosecutor. Thank you very much for your time. We know that the trial of former Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina as well as former high-ups of the then government are now under the International Crime Tribunals. Now we came to know that you are demanding for capital punishment of former Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina. Can you please briefly tell how you prove that she is guilty of having capital punishment?
Yes, thank you very much for asking this question. The order was made by the former Prime Minister, and it was so clear and so evident that she made the order over telephone to the Home Minister and the Inspector General of Police to kill the protesters by using lethal weapons and by using helicopter to finish them off. And these telephonic orders has been testified, has been examined by the forensic experts, and they said this order it was not made by artificial intelligence. It is the genuine one. It is the voice of the Prime Minister, it is the voice of the Inspector General of Police, it is the voice of the Home Minister and the other persons to whom she has passed the order. And then the BBC...
So it means that there is no scope to claim by the former Prime Minister or on behalf of her anyone that it was made by artificial intelligence or something like that. No one can claim,
because it is not made by artificial intelligence, and the Prime Minister herself never said, she has not said like this. And it was testified by the international organizations too. It was testified by the BBC, British Broadcasting Corporation. They have engaged a firm, an institution, forensic institution, to examine this voice recordings, and they has opined that these voices of the Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina and of the other persons to whom he has passed the order. And moreover, the persons whom the Prime Minister passed the directions, that is the Inspector General of Police, he has testified before the courtroom saying that yes, the Prime Minister told him to use the lethal weapons and kill the protesters. So that is the person from inside. They are saying that the Prime Minister has ordered them to kill the protesters. And then it was evident from the speeches of the Prime Minister which was telecast by before the television and the other social medias, etc. And the live evidences, that is the video footages and the persons to whom the use of helicopters And during the massive upsurge in July and August of 2024, about 1,400 people who were civilian, mostly young people, students, they were killed by the police and the ally of the police, that is the ruling party AwamiLeague and its student wing Chhatra League and Yuva League. They have killed these 1,400 people, and about 25,000 to 35,000 people were seriously injured. Most of them lost their organs of their body. Some of them lost their both eyes, some of them lost one eye, some of them lost their hands, legs, etc. So that is the crimes against humanity on the part of the accused persons, and Sheikh Hasina being the Prime Minister and the superior leader of the country. Regarding the sentencing, we argued and we prayed before the courtroom that they should be awarded with capital punishment, because in Bangladeshi ordinary criminal law there is a provision of capital punishment in case of murder. So here 1,400 people has been killed, and it was argued by the prosecution that if you award death penalty for one murder, then she has committed 1,400 murders. So it will be just and proper if she is awarded with 1,400 times death penalty, but it is not humanly possible. That's why we have prayed that she should be given capital punishment. It is for for creation of an example, so that in future no one sitting in the highest seat of the government of a country do not dare to kill his or her own people of the country, the civilian population, for just remaining in the power.
Ironically, this tribunal was formed by Sheikh Hasina, and there were controversial trials under this court. And at that time, even as a journalist, I saw that there are so many allegations of enforcing the eyewitnesses, and in the safe home they were taught how to say, and even there are false statements. There are so many that type of allegations. So if now there is that you are also forcing the ex-police chief to state this way, what's your answer?
No way, because the witnesses who has testified before the courtroom, they are the direct victims. They sustained injuries with bullets. Some of them lost their eyes, some of them lost their hands, legs, etc. So these witnesses are the direct victim of the attack directed against the civilian population. And some of from the victim families, the mother, father, brother, they has been testified before the courtroom. And there is no scope to say that these are the false evidences. We have, this is 2024 and 2025. Everything has been recorded by cameras, mobile phones, and by the media persons. So everything has been recorded, video recorded, audio recorded, photographed. So evidences are overwhelming. There is no scope to deny.
So you are fully confident?
We are fully confident. We have repeatedly said that if this type of evidences is produced before any court in the world, these perpetrators will be given capital punishment or maximum punishment in the law available.
During Sheikh Hasina regime, under this court, there were trials, and those trials were so much controversial. But at that time, you were against the state, and you were against the then courts convict persons. So there may be question that your role may be partial, or you may have weakness, and you may have arrogance against the former Prime Minister. So what's your answer about your position?
Only question is the conflict of interest. If I was the lawyer for AwamiLeague that time, and now I am against them, then there may be a question that there is a conflict of interest, because sometimes I was in favor of them, now I am against them. But my position is always constant. I was against them that time, I am against them this time. So as a prosecutor, I may not be impartial. I am always against the atrocity committed by AwamiLeague. I am always against the atrocity or the misdeeds committed by AwamiLeague. I was that time against them, now I am against them. So it is the duty of the prosecutor to prove their guilt. That's why, since I was always against them, it is better for me to prove their guilt in the courtroom. So there is no conflict of interest. Since there is no conflict of interest there, I am fully competent to act as the chief prosecutor.
So court will ensure justice.
Yes, that is the only thing, is to be ensured the impartiality of the judges. They may not be from any side of the parties of the case here. So these judges here, They are fully impartial, they are neutral, and they have the capacity to try this case. So this process is fair and transparent. It is being televised and everybody can watch and see. So if there is anything wrong here, anybody can raise any question.
There are some information that AwamiLeague, who most of the top leaders of AwamiLeague are now in abroad, and they laundered huge money, and they are now using those money to appoint lobbyists in different countries, especially in US or other European countries, to raise voices in favor of them. So it's a big challenge how you convince the international community about the fairness of this trial. So do you think it's a challenge for you?
It is always challenging, but we don't care whether somebody is doing something from abroad. We are already concentrating to the fair trial and neutrality, and we are trying to prove their guilt. So the persons who are being tried here, they have laundered so many money, they send the money to abroad. Now they are using those money for destabilizing this country. So they are trying to destabilize the government, not only government, but also to scandalize the trial process. So that is their usual thing they used to do previous time, and now they are doing so. So the Prime Minister who was in power at that time, she is living in India, and every time she is threatening the people who worked in favor of the revolution, who was the front fighter in the July revolution. She is threatening them to kill, and she is using those money she has laundered to India and somewhere else. She is using those money to create anarchy in Bangladesh. So that is their own culture, and that is their previous culture. They will do it, but we don't feel any threat.
Maybe this is for the first time in the history of Bangladesh that any ex-prime minister has been convicted before the court for so many murders, and going to have maybe capital punishment, as you are hopeful. So is it a new record in the history of Bangladesh?
Definitely it will be a history. Although the Prime Minister has not yet been convicted, she is being tried. She is convicted for contempt of court. She has threatened the witnesses of the trial process, and she has made comments that the persons who are filing cases against her, who are being testified before the courtroom, she got the license to kill these people. So that has been brought before the notice of the tribunal, and tribunal by following due process convicted and sentenced the former Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina for imprisonment for 6 months. So it is evident that she got no remorse for what she did in Bangladesh by killing 1400 people and injuring about 35,000 people in Bangladesh. She got no remorse. She is always just trying to justifying her actions, and she is now threatening the witnesses and the parties to the cases, so that no one can dare to come to the court to testify against her.
My last question, but there are some procedures in any trial process. So how much time it may take to complete this trial?
It is already concluded. The evidence taking is completed. We have made our concluding argument. In the next week, the defense side will make their argument, and after that, a date will be fixed for pronouncement of the judgment. So it is about to be concluded.
So after this judgment, maybe the convict may go to the higher court?
Either party can go to the Supreme Court for filing an appeal. So if the prosecution side is not satisfied with the conviction and sentence, they may file appeal, and the accused side may not be happy with the judgment. They may file appeal, but before that they have to come to this country. They have to surrender before the court, and then they may file the appeal before the Supreme Court.
Oh, to file the Supreme Court any appeal against the judgment of this court, the convicts must come.
They must come, because the fugitive, absconder, has no legal right to file a case before the court, any court in Bangladesh.
Thank you, Chief Prosecutor, for your time. Thank you so much.